Oh shit! Hey, you're early. Um, yeah. Do you want to see? Do you want to go through the review or Yeah, sure. Let me get my notes. Uh, that's last week. Last week. Bear a minute. Bear a minute. Uh, Here we go. We have NXT 2 hours and Rampage 2 hours. There must be some sort of mistake here. Bear with me a minute. You can't be kidding me. You can't be serious. Oh my god. Rampage 2 hours. Rampage 2 hours. Oh my freaking god, it's 2 hours. Okay, let's just get into it. I guess. Roll intro. Hello and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to HCW Show Squared. The show will take the usual formula of HCW Show, the normal one, and expand it to the power of, you guessed it, 2. My name is Dan, DP, as we all say, DPZ. Yeah. And today is a bit of a somber episode. Obviously, I record these on Saturday or Sunday. And this is only a few days removed from the fact that WWE have released more people as part of, I'm assuming, part of the WWE UFC merger TKO Endeavor thing. So for anyone who hasn't caught up with it, these are the names that have been released. So we have some, I'm assuming, some Performance Center employees. So we had Kevin Ventura Cortez, Bryson Montana, Daniel MacArthur, and then after that we get into like the on-screen names. So we had Yulisa Leon, Shanky, Double Kato, Quincy Elliott, Marseille and Mansoir, Dana Brooke, Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Top Dollar, Riddick Moss, Elias, Alia, Rick Boogs, Emma, and Mustafa Ali. Again, at HW, we do not encourage, witch hunting or trolling or any people who lose their job. And we wish them all the best in their future. It's also in their future endeavors, I guess. But yeah, it just sucks that people lose their jobs in an industry where you make millions, billions even. Yeah. But I think as a couple of days ago as well, Riddle also got released, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, but again, it's the same principle that you don't want someone to lose a job, and if you were in their spot, you don't want to lose your job because it's a source of income for your family, for your style of life, whatever, for your dream job even. But again, it just sucks for everyone who essentially was secondary to WWE's requirements. But yeah, on that note, let's get into things. But before we do, if you like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, then please give us a follow on our social medias above, which are our Twitch, the HW Show, our Twitter or X, the HW Show, Instagram and Threads, HW Show with no and our Facebook, which is also just the HW Show but with spaces. And of course, if you like what I'm doing and you feel so inclined, then go ahead and drop me a follow. I'm just down here. My name is DPZ. But yeah, without any further ado, let's just get into these, I suppose. So yeah, we had NXT and we also had Rampage Grand Slam. But we'll kick things off with NXT. So this is NXT for the 19th of September 2023. I forgot what month we're in. So we kick things off with the NXT Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. Becky's here, and she's happy to be back in NXT, and she's happy to be here as the Women's Champion of NXT. A title that she's not previously held, despite all those years ago being in NXT. She's open to the idea of facing Tiffany Stratton again in a rematch whenever Tiffany wants it. Becky then proceeds to do a really bad rhyming game with some of the women's names in the division. I can't quote it off the top of my head, but it was just bad. Go check it out if you get a chance. It's not the best. Kind of cringy. Didn't need to be there. But, you know, Becky is... dramatically. Becky has the potential to be cringy. So it makes sense. But she cut off by Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany wants her rematch for the title at No Mercy. Becky's happy to do it, but the result will be the same. Becky mentions that she's seen people in Tiffany's position with rockets strapped to them in the past. She also mentions that she's more hungry than Tiffany, and that is the reason that Tiffany will lose, because she's lacking that hunger. A short fight breaks out. A short fight breaks out between them before Kiana James interferes for Tiffany, and basically they both hit on Becky, and then Becky clears them both off, and then that ends the segment. We're shown a vignette. The family, Tony D'Angelo and Channing Lorenzo, your current tag champions, but you wouldn't be forgiven. No, so you would be forgiven if you'd forgotten that, because they're not out of match to win the titles. Is that right? That sounds right. I'm sure that's right. Anyway, they break down the NXT Tag Division and they compare potential challengers for the tag belts. They then choose to eat instead of choosing the challenger for the titles. We then get an interview with Ilya Dragunov. Ilya is ready to face and beat Carmelo Hayes at No Mercy. This time he will not leave himself vulnerable. Before it cuts away though, Becky Lynch comes in the scene and basically just cuts off Ilya. Ilya has no problem with this as he's finished anyway. She calls out Tiffany, saying that she'll happily take on both her and Kiana in a handicap match later on in the main event. We then take a step, into the Matrix. We take the blue pill, and we see just how far the rabbit hole goes with Metaphor. Metaphor are in their special lounge, and they're all cosplaying as characters from the Matrix. Noam Dar is obviously the one, Neo. Lash Legend is dressed as, I believe it was Trinity. Aura Mensa, I believe, was dressed like Morpheus. But then Noam does the voice of Morpheus, so I wasn't too sure on this, but it's not important. And he just talks about the match coming up, saying how there's no real importance as to who wins the tournament because he's going to beat them anyway. Before we get into the next match, though, there is a segment. Dominic Mysterio runs into Trick Williams, and he basically becomes the next person to try and drive a wedge between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, comparing him and Carmelo's relationship to Dominic's with his own father, which is Rey Mysterio, for anyone not following. We then get into the NXT Global Heritage Invitational Group A match. Tyler Bate, 4 points. He's won 2 out of 2. Against Butch with 3 points. He's won and drawn 1. If Butch wins, he wins the block. If Tyler wins, he wins the block. If there's a draw, Tyler wins the block. So this is a win. This is a must-win situation for Butch, and Tyler can afford a draw realistically. So the match ends with Butch winning with a different variation of the bitter end. So it has the bitter end set up, but with a sit out reverse power driver finish. It looked very clean and very decent. Maybe it should be used in the future. Snyder. I rate this 4.25 stars. It was kind of hard to rate it anything lower. These two always have great matches, and this was no different. The 12-minute time limit of these matches add another element to it as well, as both men got desperate and mistakes were made, which ultimately led to Tyler losing. But the exchanging of them hit each other's signature moves. So you had Tyler doing the finger snap, you had Butch hitting the Tyler driving 97, you even had Tyler hitting the bitter end. It was so good, mixed with the high intensity and high stakes. This is probably match of the night. This is probably match of the episode of HCW Show Squared. This is before I'd watched Rampage, and I think a bold prediction. But yeah, group A standings, Butch wins. He wins the block. Despite the fact Axiom and Charlie Dempsey are going to fight each other, does not matter what happens there. Okay, we go to a vignette. We'll go shopping with Thea Hale and Jessie Jane. Jessie critiques a series of outfits before finally settling on one that is perfect for Thea, which we will see next week. Now it's time for the NXT Global Heritage Invitational Group B match. This is the final match of Group B, and it has all the stakes. Duke Hudson, 2 points. He's won 1, lost 1. Against Joe Coffey, 4 points. He's won 2. Obviously, the situation here is if Joe Coffey wins, he wins the block, having won all 3 matches. If Duke wins, then it's a 3-way tie situation, because then he's beaten Joe Coffey, Coffey's beaten Nathan Frazier, and Frazier's beaten Duke Hudson. So it's sort of a little 3-way tie there. But the result of the match, Duke Hudson wins with a roll-up following a reversal of Coffey's discus lariat. I rated 2.5 stars. It wasn't long enough to merit a higher rating, but you know, Duke wins. He is the spoiler, and we get the 3-way tie. And also, my prediction came true, and now none of the people is in disarray, and there's no winner. I do point out though, it may have been cool to see Coffey dominate the block, because then you have the concept of him versus Butch, in the finals. And then seeing who wins there between the two dominating forces. But alas, we end on Nathan Frazier, 4 points. Joe Coffey, 4 points, and Duke Hudson, 4 points. Akira Tozawa, 0 points. He lost every match. Poor Tozawa. We get an interview immediately following this with Nathan Frazier. He's in like the viewing area for this tournament, and they keep showing like everyone's like in a dark room and they're sitting on chairs watching this. He's happy about the result because it means that there has to be a decider between the 3 of them, and it makes sense that it happens next week. However, it's not next week; it's happening tonight. Cool. Move on to a match. Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice, which come off of the interactions from last week. Roxanne, wins with the Last Supper type roll up following a reversal from a crossface from Lola. I rate this 2.75 stars. Again, short match, and I must bring up every episode now because it happens too much. You've got a 2-hour show, a regular weekly 2-hour show. Why do we have short matches that are less than 5 minutes? It makes no sense. But these short showings don't do too much in regards to ruining future encounters. So, because it was only a short match, you're not going to have like the full arsenal on display. So, I get it from that aspect, but ultimately, yeah, Lola's quite impressive though. I will say, like, I can see her doing really well in the women's breakout tournament, but we will see. We get a vignette. Eddie Thorpe visits that tree from last week and dies a hit of his belt. He then mourns it and touches it and runs through the wood. I don't know. Before talking about how he may be a savage, and maybe he needs to embrace it a bit more. He challenges Dijak to a strap match to return the favour on behalf of the tree. I don't get the Fork character whatsoever. Backstage, Roxanne Perez runs into Becky Lynch in the locker room and offers to be her tag partner while holding her arm. She's injured for the main event later on tonight, but Becky declines, saying that Roxanne probably needs to get some ice on her shoulder. Good call. We then go to another match that has potential to be match of the night. Non-title Clash of Champions. Dominic Mysterio, the North American champion, taking on Carmelo Hayes, the NXT champion. This ends in double DQ though, as Ilya Dragunov takes out both men, following both of them attacking Ilya on the outside. Post-match, Ilya takes out both Dominic and Carmelo, and before Dominic recovers and gets to the outside, and gets super kicked by Dragon Lee. 2 3/4 stars. The DQ finish took me out of it a little, and the ad break right in the centre of it also didn't do anyone any favours. But based on what little we saw, Carmelo and Dominic could have a great match. It just wasn't tonight. We go backstage again. Trick Williams is confronted by Joe Gacy and Ava Raine, who liken their situation to his, and that they sense his loneliness. They then question why Carmelo doesn't think much of Trick and then leave. We remain backstage. Duke Hudson is tired. He's nervous. He's paranoid. He's not sure of himself to win the deciding 3-way match of Group B. Andre Chase, however, gives him a motivating pep talk to encourage him, and Duke does seem to receive that, and he's fired up now. We get a vignette. We're on the streets of an unknown city. There's some kind of game being played for money in an alleyway. And then we see Bronco Nima and Lucian Price with scripts, and they are making money from the game, and they're like, yeah, we make money because we have to, and we're going to beat up the Creed brothers. Okay. We get an interview with Tank Ledger and Hank Walker, and they're ready to put themselves in a tag team title picture. They have no problem dealing with any obstacles that come into their way. We then get the NXT Global Heritage Invitational Group B 3-way tie decider match. Try to say that for her fast. Anyway, we have Joe Coffey, Nathan Frazier, Duke Hudson, all on 4 points. Only one can win. And that winner is Joe Coffey. Following an all the best for the Bells Lariat on Hudson. I rated this 3 3/4 stars. It was really good. All 3 men got their stuff in, and now we know what the finals are going to be. Joe Coffey and Butch to determine who faces Noam Dar at No Mercy. I can't lie, it feels like either way, Noam is losing the trophy once again. We then get an interview with Mustafa Ali. Now, of course, I watch NXT a bit later, so it airs on Tuesday, and I watch it probably on Friday or Saturday, something like that. So, by the time I'm watching it, he'd already been released. But yeah, Ali's not happy that Dragon Lee has a title match against Dominic before him. He claims he'll handle it on Raw. This hasn't aged well whatsoever. Let's move on. Backstage, Tiffany and Kiana relate on the fact that they both don't like Becky, and that it'll be easier for them to beat her as she has no friends and therefore no partner for tonight. Backstage again, Briggs, Jensen, and Henley argue over Miles Bourne's actions from last week. Baron Corbin comes in to mock them because he got disturbed from his Thai massage. But then Briggs stands up to him, referencing his issues with Braun Breaker, and then Baron essentially leaves. So, future match, I don't know. Then, we go to the dreaded parking lot. Carmelo Hayes in the parking lot. Get out of there, Carmelo. He confirmed that next week he'll be on. He confirmed that next week on NXT, he'll find out where Ilya sits, and that will be at the table because there's going to be a contract signing for the title match at No Mercy. And then we go into the main event of NXT, which was Becky Lynch in a handicap match against Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James. Tiffany and Kiana jump Becky during her entrance, and they lay the smack of down on Becky. But this does not last long before Lyra Valkyria appears and makes a save. And if it appears that she's going to be Becky's partner, it's because she is. We then get the main event, the actual main event, which is a tag match. Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria against Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James. Becky and Lyra win after a top rope splash from Lyra onto Kiana. Post-match, Tiffany beats down on Becky and Lyra with a chair before holding the title up over Becky's body. As Tiffany goes to leave, Becky declares that her next match at No Mercy will be an Extreme Rules match. And Tiffany looks ready for this. I rated it 3.5 stars. It was a fun match. Started off slow, but it didn't take too long to get to a faster pace and higher intensity as it went on. Lyra getting the win here was important in establishing herself. Tiffany does need some sort of win though before the PLE. Maybe a singles match against Lyra. I don't know. Either way, it would have been nice to see Tiffany and Kiana pull off the win thanks to some kind of dastardly heel tactics. But alas, this is what we got. Still a fun match though. But yeah, the match at No Mercy sounds like it'll be a good one, and only time will tell. But No Mercy is shaping up to be a good-looking card, minus Braun Breaker. But yeah, that was NXT. So let's get into Rampage. Fuck me, it's 2 hours long. Rampage should not be 2 hours long. Fuck me, man. Okay, anyway. Okay, so let's get into Rampage Grand Slam. 2 hours long. Way too long. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. We start things off with Christian Cage and Luchasaurus taking on the team of Sting and Darby Allin. Sting and Darby win following a jackknife pin from Darby onto Christian. 3 stars I rated this. It was enjoyable for an opening match. The main focus is that Darby is facing Luchasaurus and Christian in a handicap match on Collision, and also the added caveat that Nick Wayne has unresolved issues with Darby and is slowly getting courted by Christian Cage. Another note that I have here is the matches of Luchasaurus are getting better to watch now that he's not a boring face character, and I think that has something to do with Christian Cage. He's probably passed down some knowledge to him, like in-ring psychology, that sort of stuff. But he's getting better, Luchasaurus, and he's not relying so much on doing, hey, I'm a big man that can do flips, because he was too slow. It wasn't fun to watch. We had, after this another match, we had the team of Chris Statlander, Ori Cassidy, and Hook against Anna Jay, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker. Team Statlander wins, of course they do, with an orange punch to Parker. I also rated this 3 stars. It was more fun than it had any right to being on paper, and most people you see on the internet will, say it's bad because they don't understand fun in wrestling. And while I don't usually like the fun aspect, I do appreciate it and understand what the match was always going to be, so I embrace the culture. It was a fun match, which delivered on more fronts than it did on paper, as I've said that already. It was fun. Moving on to one of my guilty pleasures, I guess. It's QTV. Harley Cameron shows us her impression of a hot dog, which was literally just don't give that. Johnny TV pops up from behind a sofa, so he's been there the entire time. They show some highlights from QT's recent defense of the AAA Latin American title, where it just shows the moves that QT does. There's no back and forth. It's like he, jobbed out this guy. Johnny gets a text from QT. QT needs a partner next week. Someone with fresh breath, long hair, that he's known for a long time and can rely on. So naturally, Aaron Solo believes it's him, it's QT's talking about, but Johnny takes on the role anyway. Johnny then leaves to prepare for this. In regards to QTV, they're short segments, but they're fun. And they're great when they don't run too long. Like, remember when QT and all that did talking in the ring? It wasn't that good. Like, it didn't make much sense, but they seem to be having fun now with it and it works. So why not? So we move on to some... Oh yeah, ignore the lighting. That was always like that. I don't know what you mean. So we move on to Don Callis, who's got Takashita by his side. We have some actual storyline progression on Rampage. Holy shit. Uh, he calls out Sammy Guevara. Guevara comes out and declares Callis and Takashita as his new family. He doesn't need Jericho, and that Jericho actually held him back, and that he never wants to see him again. This, of course, cues Jericho to appear, who starts a fight with Guevara and Takashita, but Takashita takes him out with a steel chair, and then Guevara continues the assault with the chair. Callis is about to use a screwdriver on Jericho when Kenny Omega comes out and makes a save. Omega and Jericho have a stare down in the ring. To tease, are they on the same side? Can they coexist? Whatever. We then get an interview with Kenny Omega. He claims that he wants to take care of business, not just to save Jericho, and that's why he was out there. Jericho interrupts to sell the feud, and then proposes that he and Omega team up to take down Canada's family at Wrestle Dream. Omega accepts, and then there was also mention of Ibushi's name, so it could be a 3-on-3 situation. I don't know. But they now wait for the reply of Callis. So we move on. We have the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships #1 contendership Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. We have the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. The Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. And, of course, for Ray, we have the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch. And the Righteous win, following a Swanton bomb from Vincent on Chuck Taylor. Post-match, there's a lot of fighting going on between the Kingdom and the Best Friends. I rated this 2 stars. The match was pure chaos, and not in a good way. It was advertised as a Fatal 4-Way tag match, not as a tornado tag thing, and it felt more like a battle royal than did an actual tag team match. I know they give props as well for this match because I don't think anyone thought the Righteous were gonna win. So big up Rampage for actually giving a result that I don't think many saw coming. Myself included in that statement, by the way. I did think they were winning. I feel like it would have made more sense for the Kingdom to win this, given the history of MJF Cole. So I don't know what's going on with these titles, and I'm assuming they're going to get a shot later down the line, but not right now. Speaking of titles, though, it is the AEW World Trios Championship match. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn defend against the Dark Order. The Acclaimed and Billy win and retain following a different tag move. It was like an assisted iconoclasm. It's probably the best way I can describe it. I rated 2 3/4 stars. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. It felt quite slow in places too, and I'm not entirely sure if something went wrong or something like that. Overall, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good enough to shout about. I hope we get some more matches from the Acclaim because they can do better, and so can Dark Order. This was just strange. We get Sky Blue against Julia Hart. Julia Hart wins with the Heartless submission. Post-match, Willow Nightingale makes the save from Julia Hart's attack on Sky Blue. 2 3/4 stars I rated this. Not sure what I expected here, to be honest. It was somehow both more and less than what I thought it would be. Julia is getting better in ring, which is always a good thing. I can't help but think that there are better choices though for her to showcase herself. Sky Blue is sort of right now in limbo. Like she's in that spot where she's like, "Oh, you can have a good match against anyone, so just fight, X, fight Z, whatever." It's a shame, but it is what it is, I guess. We're now backstage with the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet from Gold. Jay White is fully aware of who Andrade is, and recalls a meeting they had in 2015 in New Japan when he was called a Sombra Andrade. But why would Andrade remember this? White says that he is ready for Andrade on Collision. So they're fighting on Collision in what should be a great match. We then get Mike Santana against Bronson of the Iron Savages. Santana wins with a double underhook dominator kind of move. Post-match, Ortiz comes out and stands on the ramp and taunt at Mike. I rated it 1.5 stars. It wasn't a complete squash. It was just incredibly one-sided and went on for a bit longer than you would have wanted. But we're now setting up at Santana and Ortiz for the near future. And I believe it is time for the main event. For the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. The Mogul Embassy, Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona take on the tandem of Hangman Page and the Young Bucks. The match is... Sorry, my notes. There we go. The match is won by Hangman and the Bucks. We have new trios champions. In Ring of Honor, that is. In Hangman and the Bucks. I rated this 3.5 stars. It was very fun. Like everywhere, and it's very good to see a different team take down the Embassy, because the Embassy have sort of ruling the whole thing for a little bit now. I will say though, having Bucks and Page win here isn't the most thrilling thing, because they're always people that are always involved in title pictures, and you kind of want to split the scene a little bit more and open it up more to more people, but you can't do that because you have people like Hangman and the Bucks, Kenny, and whoever, like, who are constantly in that scene. So there's no room for other guys in the scene. But yeah, it's other than that, the match itself was fine. It was really good. It'll help for now with Ring of Honor, seeing Hangman and the Bucks on there. But in the overall run of things, it probably shouldn't be them who are champions. But I digress. So that was Rampage, and that was the end of Rampage. And that brings an end to this show. So thank you once again for tuning in to HCW Show Squared. I've been Dan, DP, or say it with me, DPZ. Yeah! And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.